I wanted to do a video today talking about powerful psychological effects that you can all implement in your growth efforts to help you grow your company and basically utilize a lot of biases, predisposals we have as human beings. Now, I'm going to break down each and every psychological effect, provide real world examples, and show exact use cases, how you can integrate it into your growth efforts. First, Hick's Law. What is Hick's Law? Well, in short, it means more options lead to harder decision making. Think about it like this. You're filling up a demo form and you reach the area of how did you hear about us? Now, instead of having 3, 4, say 5 options max, you get this gazillion options to pick from. What do? Well, you stop, you pause, and Hick's Law really predicts that the time and the effort it takes to make a decision increases with the number of options. The more choice one has, the more time it takes to make a decision. Now, to illustrate this, here is a classic example of Hick's Law in action. We're now looking at Trello's onboarding funnel, and when they basically ask the first question, what brings you to Trello, they have about 15 options. That is a lot. That's like having an option for every possible scenario and use case. In such a case, as a user, you'd pause and sort of get stuck. This is a classic friction inserted into your funnel. Now, this is something that's not solely unique with Trello. A lot of companies actually trying too hard to build use cases dedicated for each and every scenario, but they don't do a really good job at grouping them and at delivering them to the end user. So how I would address this? I would try to either reduce those and minimize the options possible, or alternatively find the ways to narrow it down or hide some of them. Do we really need all these options? I would take like the top 3, 4 and have other options for the least common ones. If you cannot minimize these options, you should probably make them skimmable and easier to digest. Make sure they're quite similar or grouped together. Bonus points if you can do some sort of progressive profiling or progressive disclosure, meaning you will only show a handful of the options and the more will appear as the user progresses in their experience, in their journey. Now, why is this gonna help us? Because users are less overwhelmed when they are exposed to complex features and options gradually at a later time, not everything all at once. Next up is something called a Decoy Effect. Now, what is that? Well, when creating a new option that's easy to disregard when we are choosing between two alternatives, the addition of the third, less attractive, less appealing option, hence the decoy, can really influence the perception of the original two choices. Decoys are asymmetrically dominated. They are completely inferior to one option, the target option, but are only partially inferior to the other. That would be the competitor. Now, a classic real-world example for this from our topics are pricing pages. A lot of time there are unattractive decoys plans in pricing pages that are solely designed to make one of the other plans more attractive. Another good example for this is something that's actually coming from the newspaper media industry. And a while ago, The Economist actually ran a successful decoy for a few years. So they offered 3 subscriptions at the following prices: a subscription for their online edition for $59 US, a subscription for the print for $125 US, and a print and a web subscription for $125, meaning you either get print plus web for $125, just print for $125, or a sole online subscription for the web for $59. Now, easily, the decoy here is the print only. It basically is the same price as the print plus web, and most people would actually choose their latter, so it's a no-brainer. Third effect, that's a well-known one. It is social proof, being used a ton of times in web design, in CRO, in product homepages, etc. And basically it is defined by users' adaptability. They're adapting their behaviors based on what others do. We all do that as human beings. We basically want a social sort of affirmation that our choices are valid and make sense. It really is like a shortcut that we take, a mental shortcut that we take to determine our behavior. Is it the correct behavior or not? Tons of examples on this one from companies like Calm that basically try to persuade you to go to their daily sessions by showing the amount of people that participated recently. Tinder uses this a lot. Of course, Amazon, this is a classic example where they basically show you the most common options. Airbnb showing the most popular filters per destination. Social proof is really powerful and can really come in handy when you try to persuade users to take a certain action. Also helps and correlates with displaying logos of your best clients on your homepage, on your landing page, etc. Basically, it's going to accelerate the funnel and serve as a proof that if company X picked you as a customer, why shouldn't we? Now, lastly, we cannot talk about psychological effects without mentioning aha moments. Aha moments are some of my favorite moments where actually there is a sudden insight or discovery by your users when they actually get it and understand the value that your product or service delivers. It's a really pivotal moment in a way when a new user realizes the value that you serve. Now, how do you find your aha moment? Well, there are a couple of steps, but essentially it boils down to really understanding your users' behavior, their patterns, and the value they derive from your product. So first things first, I would identify the core power users. I would find behavioral patterns, understand how it relates to retention or churn. And finally, I would test that presumed aha moment with a bunch of new users to see how they react. Remember, this is where coupling your data with visual analysis tools like Hotjar, Clarity, Full Story can bring a ton of value in cracking, discovering your aha moment. So that's it for this video. I hope you make use of psychological effects in your products and growth efforts. If you're not, I hope this video served as some inspiration to help you learn more about this topic. And by the way, shout out to the folks at growth.design for sort of inspiring me to do this video. They have a great repository on this topic. If you like my video and content, like and subscribe for more.